going to be discussing the TN visa occupation of a computer systems analyst. And this is specifically for Canadian and Mexican citizens looking to work in the United States under the occupation of a computer systems analyst. Whether you have a job offer or just want to determine whether or not you meet those minimum qualifications for TN status as a computer systems analyst. And while I'm discussing this, I'm going to be referencing a few different resources. The primary one will be our website, where we have an in-depth explanation of the requirements for a computer systems analyst. At the bottom of that blog, there are citations. One of those citations is to the U.S. Department of Labor's Occupational Outlook Handbook that talks about the requirements for computer systems analysts, as well as an important memo from U.S. Customs and Border Protection from 2010 that really explains what a computer systems analyst is for TN visa purposes. And it's important to understand the contents of that memo and who does and who does not qualify as a computer systems analyst. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with that memo. And in this memo, it gives a specific clarifying definition of what a computer systems analyst is according to CBP for TN visa purposes. And this is what it says. It says a computer systems analyst, or a CSA, is an information specialist who analyzes how data processing can be applied to the specific systems needs of users and who designs and implements computer-based processing systems. Computer systems analysts study the overall organization or organizational component to identify its information needs and design computer systems which meets those needs. A computer systems analyst is generally precluded from performing actual programming functions. Although a computer systems analyst may be required on occasion to engage in limited programming activities, such limited programming activities, however, should be the exception and not the rule. The computer systems analyst category does not include computer programmers, whose primary responsibility is creating or modifying computer programs. This is very important to understand. If you are applying under the category of a computer systems analyst, and CBP has read into this that if more than 10% of your day-to-day duties as a computer systems analyst would involve computer programming, you will not qualify as a computer systems analyst. You are more likely to qualify under the category of a computer engineer, which falls under the engineering occupation for TN visa purposes. Now, a lot of individuals gravitate towards computer systems analysts, maybe because they don't have the education that would qualify them as a computer engineer. But be aware that if you attempt to apply as a computer systems analyst and your primary duties involve computer programming, then you do not qualify as a computer systems analyst. It is not the right TN visa occupation for you. Now, moving beyond what a computer systems analyst does according to CBP, we're going to move into the second most important part of the analysis of determining whether or not you qualify as a computer systems analyst, and that is, what are the eligibility requirements? What are the minimum education requirements in order to qualify as a computer systems analyst? And this is very important, because a computer systems analyst has a few different ways you can qualify. You can qualify, and the most straightforward way to qualify is the first one, and that is if you have a bachelor's degree in computer science or a related field. Very important that this is a 4-year degree that is equivalent to a U.S. 4-year degree. So if you were educated outside of North America and you received a degree, and that degree is a 3-year degree, it may not qualify you for a TN visa as a computer systems analyst. It has to be equivalent on its own, on its face, without combining any other education, certificates, or experience to a U.S. 4-year degree. Now, the other way you can qualify as a computer systems analyst is by nature of having a diploma. Now, a diploma is very important to understand. A diploma, according to the USMCA, is a 2-year degree from an accredited institution in either Canada or the United States. And the final education criteria you could use to qualify is what is called a post-secondary certificate. And that is a certificate that is earned in Mexico of 2 years or more from an accredited institution. So if you're paying attention, if you have a diploma or certificate or any other education of that nature, it has to be from North America. And if it's a diploma, it has to be from Canada or it has to be from the United States, and a certificate is only from Mexico. So if you have something similar outside of North America, it will not meet those minimum requirements for a TN visa as a computer systems analyst. On top of that, if you are relying on a diploma or certificate, you would have to combine that with at least 3 years of progressive experience in the industry. How do you quantify that? Well, you can't quantify it with a resume. You need to quantify that with a former employer letter that attests to the duties that you performed and makes it clear that your experience was in a related field to computer systems. Those are the minimum requirements. So either you have that bachelor's degree, a 4-year degree that is equivalent to a U.S. 4-year degree, or you have a diploma plus 3 years experience, and that diploma is from either Canada or the United States, or you have a certificate in 3 years experience, and that certificate is from Mexico. Unfortunately, none of your Microsoft certifications or other certifications that you would do on the side of, those several month courses or year-long courses, those do not qualify you. And you cannot combine them to meet these qualifications. So if you don't meet one of those 3 educational requirement criteria, you unfortunately probably do not qualify for TN status as a computer systems analyst. So very important to understand. Now, if you check all of these boxes, you meet that definition from CBP as a computer systems analyst, and less than 10% of your duties involve programming, and then you also meet the education criteria by either having that bachelor's degree or a qualifying diploma or certificate in 3 years of experience, then you more than likely can qualify for TN status. And it's a matter of putting together proof of your credentials as well as proof of a qualifying job offer from a U.S. entity for a professional level role that would require the work of a computer systems analyst. And then you would present this documentation at a U.S. port of entry if you're Canadian, or at a U.S. consulate if you're Mexican, as proof of your bona fide offer in the United States in order to obtain either your TN visa or your TN visa status to work in the United States. If you have questions about your qualifications for TN status as a computer systems analyst, or even just questions in general as to whether or not you qualify for a TN visa, we handle TN visa applications on a regular basis, and we're very knowledgeable about this process and qualifications, and we are definitely able to assist you with that TN visa application process.